You understand others but can't reply fast. You keep translating and the moment is gone. Maybe it's your problem too, right? Don't worry, you're not alone. In this video, I'll show you how to stop thinking in your language and start thinking directly in English. Stay till the end, because this might be the moment that changes your English forever. Chapter 1. The Translation Trap. Have you ever tried to speak English but felt your brain stop halfway? You know the word in your own language, but when you try to say it in English, your mouth freezes. Your mind starts searching, thinking, translating. The moment passes, and you lose confidence. You tell yourself, I know the words, but they just don't come out. My friend, that's not your fault. That's your brain stuck in what I call the translation trap. When we start learning English, our brain does something very natural. It tries to protect us. It uses what it already knows, our native language, to understand new things. At first, it feels safe. You learn apple means your language word. You learn good morning means your phrase. And that works for a while. But when you want to speak fast or think fast, this habit becomes a problem. Because every time you hear English, your brain takes a long road. First, it goes to your language. Then it comes back to English. It's like taking the longest route when there's already a short, simple path right in front of you. That's why you feel slow when speaking English. That's why you sometimes understand but can't respond. The brain is busy translating instead of thinking. You don't need to be a translator, you need to be a thinker. You don't need to change words from your language into English, you need to connect directly to English. The people who speak fluently are not faster than you. They just don't stop to translate. They think directly in English. I remember one of my students who used to say, "Teacher, I know everything in my language, but when I speak English, I feel empty." That emptiness was not lack of knowledge, it was just the pause between two languages. Once she stopped translating, her English became alive. She started to feel the language instead of studying it. And that's what you need too. Not more translation, but more connection. Think of it like music. When you listen to your favorite song, do you translate every word? No, you feel it. You understand the emotion, even if you don't know every word. English works the same way. The more you connect with feeling, the less you need translation. The more you trust your brain, the faster it learns. But breaking the translation trap takes courage. You have to let go of control. You have to allow yourself to make mistakes. You have to train your brain to see cat and think of the animal, not your native word. You have to hear hungry and feel your stomach, not your dictionary. This small change makes a big difference, because the moment your brain connects directly to English, you start to live it. When you stop translating, English becomes natural. You'll no longer wait for words to appear. They'll just come. You'll no longer think, "What's that word in English?" You'll already know it. You'll stop depending on your language and start depending on your own English brain. That's when fluency begins. So today, I want you to make a small promise to yourself. Promise that from this moment, you will not translate in your head. When you hear English, let it stay in English. When you speak English, don't think too much. Just say what you can. Even if it's simple, it's powerful. Remember, a baby doesn't translate. A baby listens, repeats, and feels. You can do the same. Your mind is ready to think in English. It just needs practice and trust. Every time you stop translating, you are training your brain to think faster, clearer, and more naturally. You are unlocking the next level of fluency. So stop fighting your brain, start training it. Don't be afraid of silence. Don't be afraid of small mistakes. Every time you use English directly, you are becoming fluent. Every single time. This is the moment where your English journey truly begins. Not when you memorize grammar, not when you learn 100 new words, but when you stop thinking in your language and start feeling in English. Because fluency doesn't start in your mouth, it starts in your mind. Chapter 2. How Native Speakers Think. Have you ever wondered how native speakers speak English so fast, so naturally, and so confidently? They don't stop to think about grammar. They don't pause to search for words. They don't look nervous when they speak. It almost feels like English lives inside their mind, moving freely without effort. But here's the secret. They are not born with that skill. They just think differently. Their brain connects English words directly to meaning, not translation. And that's the difference between them and you. When a native speaker hears the word apple, they don't think of any other language. They see a red fruit, feel its taste, remember its smell. They see pictures and emotions, not translations. Their brain doesn't say, apple means this word in my language, it just knows what it is. That's how fluent thinking works. It's simple, direct, and emotional. And that's exactly how you can train your brain too. You see, your brain is an amazing machine. It learns through connection, not translation. When you connect English to your real life, to pictures, to experiences, you stop depending on your language. You start depending on meaning. For example, when you see the word run, don't think of its translation. Just imagine yourself running. Feel your breath. Picture your legs moving. That one picture is stronger than 100 translations. Native speakers live in a world where English is not just a language, it's part of everything they do. They think, dream, and even feel in English. When they see something beautiful, their mind says, "Wow, that's amazing." When they're sad, they think, "I feel bad today." Their emotions are in English. That's why their speaking sounds natural. It comes from feeling, not from memory. You can do this too, no matter where you live. The trick is to start connecting English with your daily life. When you wake up, say in your mind, "Good morning." When you drink water, think, "I'm drinking water." When you see the sky, say, "The sky is blue today." These small sentences change everything. They teach your brain to use English as a thinking language, not just a school subject. One of my students once told me, "Teacher, I think I'll never be fluent like a native speaker." I smiled and said, "Fluency is not about where you were born, it's about how you think." After a few months, she came back and said something beautiful. "I stopped translating, and now English feels like part of me." That's what happens when your brain starts working like a native one. The goal is not to speak perfect English. The goal is to speak real English. And real English comes when you stop forcing it and start feeling it. Don't worry if your sentences are short. Don't worry if your grammar is imperfect. Even native speakers make mistakes. What makes them fluent is confidence, not perfection. Start by thinking simple. Think in words first, then in short sentences. Look around and name things in English. When you make this a daily habit, your mind begins to switch naturally. You'll notice one day that your thoughts are coming out in English without trying. That's the moment when fluency becomes real. So don't be afraid. You already have the same brain as native speakers. You just need to train it differently. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. The perfect moment is now. Every time you think in English, you're building a new world inside your mind. A world where words come easily, where you speak confidently, where English becomes a part of who you are. Remember this. You don't need to be born in an English-speaking country to think like a native. You just need to live English with your heart, not with translation. Because fluency doesn't start from your mouth, it starts from the way your mind sees the world. So from today, don't just learn English, think it, feel it, live it. Chapter 3. Train your brain like a child. Have you ever watched how a child learns to speak? They don't sit with books, they don't worry about grammar, they don't translate, they just listen, repeat, and slowly start speaking. They make mistakes, laugh, and try again. And before anyone realizes, they are speaking fluently. That's the secret power of a child's brain. It learns through experience, not through fear. It learns through repetition, not through perfection. If you want to think in English, you must train your brain like a child again. When a child hears a new word, they don't ask, "What's the translation?" They just hear it, see it, and connect it with real life. If you show a child a ball and say ball, they understand it. They don't ask for the meaning in another language. That is how you must start training your brain. See the word, feel it, use it, repeat it. Let your brain make its own meaning. That's how English becomes part of your natural thinking. Many adults make learning difficult because they want to be perfect. They fear making mistakes. But a child doesn't care. A child just enjoys learning. When they say something wrong, everyone smiles. But when an adult makes a mistake, they feel embarrassed. That's what blocks fluency. You must learn to enjoy the process again. Smile when you make mistakes. They are not failures, they are proof that your brain is learning a new language. Children learn because they are curious. They look around and ask questions. They don't try to remember everything, they learn by living. You can do the same. Don't just study English, live it. Watch something in English. Listen to how people talk. Repeat their sentences. Use simple words every day. When you do this often, your brain starts to understand that English is not a subject, it's a way of life. Think about this. When you were a child, you didn't know the rules of your language. You learned by listening to your parents and friends. Slowly, your brain built patterns. The same can happen with English. You don't need to memorize grammar to speak, you just need to listen, repeat, and connect. The more you expose your brain to English, the more it learns automatically. One of my students once told me she was afraid to speak because her sentences were not perfect. I told her, "Speak like a child." She smiled and said, "But I'm an adult." I said, "Yes, but your English brain is still a baby. You have to let it grow." After that, she started practicing every day, talking to herself, repeating sentences, copying sounds. In a few months, she started speaking more naturally. Not perfectly, but confidently. That's the result of a childlike brain. So stop judging your English. Stop comparing yourself to others. Children never compare. They just enjoy the sound of words. Try to do that. Speak even if no one listens. Repeat what you hear. Talk to your phone, your mirror, or your pet. Every time you use English, your brain becomes stronger. Every time you listen with curiosity, you are building your English brain. Train your brain with love, not pressure. Be patient with yourself. Children don't become fluent in a week. It takes time, but they keep trying because they believe they can. You can too. Every simple word you say in English is a step forward. Every sentence you repeat is progress. Every mistake you make is a lesson. So today, make a decision. Treat your English like a child you are raising. Feed it with practice. Care for it with patience. Watch it grow every day. Because when you train your brain like a child, English stops being a foreign language. It becomes your second home. And one day, without even noticing, you'll wake up thinking in English naturally, just like a child does. Chapter 4. One word, many sentences. Sometimes we think learning English means learning thousands of words. We feel we need a big vocabulary before we can speak. But that's not true. You don't need to know many words, you just need to use a few words in many ways. That's how fluency starts. One word can teach your brain 10 new sentences. One small step can open a big door. Think about the word go. It's so simple, right? But look how powerful it can be. I go to school, I'm going to school. I will go tomorrow. I didn't go yesterday, I go every day. Just one word, and you already have 5 sentences. You didn't need to memorize grammar rules, you just played with the word. That's how your brain learns to think in English, by using one word in many real sentences. This method works because it connects English directly to action. When you repeat go, you are not translating. You are training your brain to feel the rhythm of the language. You are showing your mind that English is not something to remember, it's something to live. Every time you use the same word in a new sentence, your brain becomes faster. The connection becomes stronger. The word becomes part of your thinking. Let's take another example, the word like. You can say, I like coffee, I like reading, I like you, do you like it? I didn't like that movie. See how this one small word builds so many expressions? That's how native speakers think. They don't learn 1,000 words in one day, they learn one word deeply. They know how to use it again and again. That's what makes their speaking sound natural. You can start this today. Choose one simple word each morning. Maybe eat, work, read, or make. Try to create as many sentences as you can during the day. Speak them aloud. Write them in your notebook. Repeat them before you sleep. You'll notice something magical. That one word will start living in your head. You won't need to think about it anymore. It will just come naturally when you speak. I once had a student who always said, I don't know how to make sentences. I told him, let's start with one word. We picked the word do. At first, he only said, I do my homework. Then slowly, what do you do? I don't do it. I do everything myself. Do you want to join? After a week, he was surprised. He said, Teacher, I didn't memorize anything, but now I can speak faster. That's the power of one word and many sentences. When you use one word again and again, your brain stops translating. It starts predicting. It starts creating. You begin to think directly in English. And that's exactly what we want. The goal is not to study harder, but to practice smarter. The more sentences you build from one word, the more your brain learns to connect English to meaning. Don't be afraid of repeating. Repetition is not boring. Repetition is power. Every time you repeat a word in a new sentence, your brain becomes stronger. It's like exercising your English muscles. The more you use them, the more natural your speaking becomes. So from today, promise yourself one thing. You will stop trying to learn 100 new words at once. You will start mastering one word at a time. You will build your English step by step, sentence by sentence. That's how true fluency grows, slowly, naturally, beautifully. Remember this forever. One simple word can build your English world. One word can make you confident. One word can make you think, feel, and speak in English. You don't need to rush, just start with one word today and let it grow into your voice. Because the journey to fluency always begins with one small word, spoken from the heart. Chapter 5. The Mirror Trick. Think aloud. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror and really looked at yourself. Most people see their face, their hair, their clothes. But what if I told you that mirror can become your best English teacher? You don't need anyone else. You don't need to wait for a partner. You already have the perfect listener. The mirror never laughs, never judges, and never gets tired of listening to you. That's why I call it the most powerful English classroom in the world. When you stand in front of a mirror, something changes. You are no longer hiding. You are facing yourself. You are looking at the person who will make you fluent. This small act builds confidence like nothing else. At first, it feels strange. You may feel shy or silly. But that's normal. Every great speaker started by talking to themselves. Every fluent person once stood where you are right now, unsure but brave enough to try. The mirror trick is simple. You stand in front of your reflection and start speaking in English. You can talk about anything. Say what you see. My hair looks nice today. I feel sleepy. I am smiling now. I look tired, but I'm strong. These small sentences matter. They teach your brain to think in English without fear. You're not reading. You're not memorizing. You're simply living English. When you speak to your mirror, you start to connect English with emotion. You look into your own eyes and feel every word. When you say, "I can do it," you see the strength in your face. When you say, "I'm proud of myself," you start to believe it. This practice doesn't just improve your English, it builds confidence, self-love, and courage. Many learners stay silent because they're afraid of being wrong. They wait for someone to correct them. But here's the truth. Fluency grows faster when you stop waiting for permission. The mirror gives you that freedom. You can speak as long as you want. You can make mistakes and laugh at them. You can try again and again until your words sound natural. That's how real progress happens. I once had a student named Lila who was too shy to speak. She always whispered during class. One day I told her, "Go home and talk to your mirror every night for 5 minutes." She smiled nervously but agreed. After 2 weeks, she came back with a glow on her face. She said, "Teacher, I'm not scared anymore. I talk to myself in English every day, and it feels good." That's when I knew the mirror trick worked like magic. You see, when you speak to your reflection, you train two things at once: your English and your confidence. You learn to express your thoughts, not just repeat sentences. You stop worrying about what others think. You focus on the message, the feeling, the energy of your words. You become your own teacher. Start with just a few minutes a day. Don't try to be perfect. Just speak. Tell yourself about your day. Describe your plans. Talk about your dreams. Ask yourself questions and answer them. How was my day? What do I want to learn today? Why do I want to speak English? This daily habit will change everything. Slowly, you'll stop translating in your head. You'll start thinking directly in English. Every time you speak to your mirror, you are planting seeds of fluency. Each sentence is a step closer to confidence. Each word is a new muscle in your English brain. And one day, without even realizing, you'll start speaking to others the same way you spoke to yourself, naturally and fearlessly. So today, go to your mirror, look into your own eyes and say, "I'm learning, I'm improving, I can speak English." Keep repeating it until you feel it. Because the mirror doesn't lie. It shows you the person who is becoming fluent, strong, and unstoppable. Your reflection is not just you, it's your future English speaker waiting to shine. Chapter 6. Replace your inner voice. There is a voice inside your head that never stops talking. It tells you what to do, reminds you of things, and sometimes even argues with you. That voice is powerful. It decides how you think and how you feel. But have you ever noticed what language your inner voice speaks in? For most people, it's their native language. And that's one of the biggest reasons why it's so hard to think in English. If you want to become fluent, you must teach that inner voice to speak English too. Your inner voice is like your best friend. It's always with you. It talks when you wake up. It talks when you walk, eat, or study. It's there when you feel happy or sad. So what if that voice started speaking English instead? What if every thought that comes to your mind was in English? You would start thinking faster, speaking easier, and feeling more natural in the language. That's how fluency really begins, inside your mind, not just on your tongue. At first, it feels strange to change the voice in your head. You might think, how can I do that? But it's easier than you imagine. You just need to start small. Begin with short, simple sentences. When you're about to do something, say it in English in your head. I'm walking. I'm cooking. I'm going to work. I'm tired. These sentences might sound simple, but they are training your brain to think differently. When your brain hears your own voice in English, it slowly starts to accept that language as normal. It stops depending on translation. It begins to believe that English belongs to you. That's when you start to think directly in English without trying. You'll notice it one day while doing something ordinary. You'll say to yourself, I forgot my keys, or I should make tea, and it will come naturally in English. That's when you'll realize your brain has changed. The more you use your English inner voice, the more confident you become. You stop feeling nervous before speaking. You stop worrying about grammar. You speak because it feels natural. It's like talking to yourself in your own world. You don't care if you're right or wrong, you just speak. And that's what fluent people do. They don't stop to translate, they just think and talk at the same time. I remember a student named Ahmed. He told me, "Teacher, my English is fine when I write, but my mouth doesn't move when I speak." I asked him what language he used in his mind. He said, "My native one, of course." I smiled and said, "That's the problem. You need to change the language of your thoughts." He started practicing short inner sentences every day. A few weeks later, he said, "Teacher, I don't know how, but I started thinking in English when I wake up." That's the magic of the English inner voice. You don't need to wait for perfect English to start. You just need to make your thoughts simple. Talk to yourself in your head as if you were your best friend. Say, "Let's do this. I can try again. I'm learning. I can improve." These sentences may be small, but they are powerful. They are changing the language of your mind. Your thoughts shape your words, and your words shape your life. When you change the language of your thoughts, you change your relationship with English. It becomes part of your identity. It becomes part of who you are. So stop letting your old language control your thinking. Let English take its place. From today, whenever your mind speaks, listen carefully. If it talks in your language, gently switch it to English. Keep doing it until it becomes natural. Your inner voice is your strongest teacher. Let it speak English, let it guide you every day. Because when your thoughts start speaking English, your life begins to change in ways you never imagined. That's when English stops being a language you learn and becomes a language you live. Chapter 7. Listening with Emotion. When most people think about learning English, they think about speaking, reading, and writing. But the real secret to thinking in English begins with listening. Not just any kind of listening, but listening with emotion. Because when your heart listens, your brain remembers. When your feelings connect to the words, your mind starts thinking in English automatically. Think about how you learned your first language. You didn't start by studying grammar or vocabulary. You started by listening. You listened to your parents, your friends, the world around you. You heard sounds, laughter, emotions, and slowly your brain made sense of them. That's exactly how you must learn English now, not with fear or stress, but with curiosity and feeling. When you listen to English with emotion, you stop hearing words as noise. You start hearing meaning. You start to understand tone, rhythm, and feeling. Listen to how people say, "I'm happy," or "I'm tired." Feel their energy. Feel their sadness or joy. Don't just hear it, feel it inside you. When you connect emotion with language, your brain doesn't need translation. It remembers naturally. Many learners listen to English just to understand every single word. When they don't understand one, they panic. But that's the wrong way. You don't have to understand everything. You only need to feel what's being said. If someone says, "It's a beautiful day," don't think about each word. Picture the sun, feel the light, smile. That's how you train your brain to think in English directly. Music is one of the best teachers for this. Listen to English songs. Don't worry about every lyric. Feel the emotion of the singer. Sing along. Let your voice join the words. Movies and stories work the same way. When you watch a movie, don't translate the dialogue. Watch the faces, listen to the emotions, and understand through feeling. Slowly, your brain will start to think like a native speaker, because that's how the human brain learns naturally. I had a student once who said, "Teacher, I can't understand fast English." I asked her, "Do you feel the emotion when you listen?" She said no. So I gave her a task. I told her to listen to one English story every night before sleep and just feel it, without trying to understand every sentence. After 1 month, she came to me smiling. She said, "Teacher, I don't know what happened, but now I can understand much more." That's the power of emotional listening. When you connect feeling to English, your memory becomes stronger. You don't forget phrases. You don't lose interest. You actually start to enjoy learning. Your brain begins to create a link between sound and meaning. That's when you start thinking in English without effort. You can start this today. Choose something simple, maybe a short English story, a slow podcast, or a YouTube video where someone speaks clearly. Listen to it again and again. Each time, close your eyes and focus on the voice. Feel the happiness, sadness, surprise, or peace in the words. Let the emotion guide you. Don't try to be perfect, just listen with your heart. The more you listen with emotion, the more English becomes part of you. You'll start to notice new words in songs. You'll begin to think in English while watching movies. You'll understand jokes, feelings, and emotions faster than before. That's when English becomes real. So from today, stop listening like a student. Start listening like a human being. Let every sound touch your heart. Because when English enters your heart, it will never leave your mind. That's how fluency begins, not from studying harder, but from feeling deeper. Listen with love, and soon you'll find that your thoughts, your dreams, and your voice will all speak in English naturally. Chapter 8. Think in pictures, not words. When you hear the word sun, what comes to your mind? Do you see the word written in letters, or do you see the bright yellow sun shining in the sky? That simple difference can change how fast you learn English. The secret to thinking in English is to think in pictures, not in words. The people who think in English fluently don't translate in their heads. They don't see words. They see images. They feel moments. They connect language with life, not with dictionaries. When you think in pictures, your brain becomes free. It no longer waits for translation, it understands instantly. That's how children learn. When a child hears dog, they don't think about spelling or translation. They see a real dog. They remember how it barks, how it runs, how it feels. That image becomes the meaning. That's what you need to train your brain to do. See, feel, and connect. That's how your English becomes alive. Imagine learning the word rain. You can read it in your notebook 10 times. but you might still forget it. But if you close your eyes and imagine rain falling on your hands, if you hear the sound of drops, if you feel the cold air, your brain remembers it forever. Why? Because the brain doesn't love words. It loves pictures, sounds, and emotions. Many learners try to memorize everything. They read lists of words, but those words don't stay in their minds because they're not connected to anything real. Your brain needs to see what you learn. When you hear coffee, don't think of the translation. Picture a cup. Smell it in your mind. Feel the warmth. That's how you stop thinking in your language and start thinking in English. I remember one of my students named Noor. She told me she always forgot English words. I asked her how she studied. She said she just read and repeated them. I told her, next time, don't just read, see the word in your mind. The next week, she came to class smiling. She said, "Teacher, I imagined every word as a picture, and now I remember everything." That's the power of imagination. It's stronger than any translation. You can practice this anywhere. When you hear a new English word, pause for a second. Create a picture in your mind. If you hear mountain, imagine climbing it. If you hear sleep, imagine yourself lying in bed. If you hear book, imagine holding it. The more you do this, the faster your brain connects English to meaning. Even when you speak, use this trick. Don't think of sentences as words. Think of them as scenes. When you say, "I'm walking to school," see yourself walking. When you say, "I'm cooking," imagine yourself in the kitchen. When you say, "I'm happy," picture the smile on your face. These small visual moments build your fluency. They help your mind stay in English without effort. Your brain is like a movie screen. Fill it with English pictures. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon you'll notice something beautiful happening. You'll stop translating completely. You'll hear English, and your mind will show you pictures instead of words. That's when English becomes part of your thinking. So stop memorizing and start imagining. Every English word is not just a sound, it's a story. It's an image waiting to live in your mind. The more you see it, the faster you'll feel it. The faster you feel it, the sooner you'll think in English naturally. Remember this forever. The brain speaks the language of pictures, not words. Let every English word paint a picture in your mind. Let your imagination be your teacher. Because when your thoughts turn into pictures, English becomes a part of your heart. And that's when you truly begin to think in English. Chapter 9. Make English your daily world. If you want to think in English, you must live in English. Not just for 1 hour a day, not just when you study, but all the time. The truth is simple. The more your world is filled with English, the faster your brain will start to think in it. You cannot learn to swim by watching water from the side. You must jump in. English is the same. You have to surround yourself with it until it becomes part of your everyday life. Look around your day. Every small thing can become your English teacher. When you wake up, say, "Good morning" in English. When you make tea, think, "I am making tea." When you leave the house, tell yourself, "It's a beautiful day." You don't need to wait for someone to talk to. You can talk to yourself. your phone, your mirror, or even your thoughts. Every small English moment builds a big result. Many people say, I don't have anyone to practice with. But that's not an excuse. You have yourself, your phone, your world. You can listen, watch, read, and speak English every single day. The internet is full of free English. You can change your phone's language, read English captions, or listen to podcasts while doing chores. Make English the background music of your life. The more you hear it, the more natural it becomes. I had a student once who struggled for years to improve. She studied hard but never felt fluent. One day I told her, don't just study English, live in English. She changed her phone to English. She started watching videos without subtitles. She even started thinking her shopping list in English. After 3 months, she said something powerful. I don't try to think in English anymore. It just happens. That's what happens when you make English your daily world. Fluency doesn't come from big lessons. It comes from small, daily habits. Reading one short article, watching one short video, speaking one short sentence, writing one short thought. These small actions don't look big, but they change your brain slowly, deeply, permanently. Your brain learns what it sees often. If your eyes, ears, and heart see English every day, your brain starts believing it's your second language. You stop feeling like a student. You start feeling like a speaker. You stop thinking, I'm learning English. You start thinking, I live in English. That small change transforms everything. You don't need a perfect environment. You just need to create one. Fill your room with English words. Stick small notes on things. Write mirror door window table. Speak those words aloud when you see them. Every time you say them, your brain connects English with real life. And that's the moment your mind begins to think in English. You can also use your free time wisely. Instead of scrolling aimlessly, scroll in English. Follow English pages. Read English comments. Watch English videos. Read quotes and repeat them aloud. Every small action is feeding your English brain. The goal is not to study harder, it's to live smarter. The more your brain stays close to English, the less it depends on your native language. That's how you move from learning to living. You'll start to dream in English. You'll start to laugh in English. You'll start to express your real thoughts in English without trying. So make your home, your phone, your heart, all part of your English world. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start today. Every step counts. Every word matters. Your daily world can be your biggest teacher if you let it. Because fluency is not built in classrooms, it's built in life. It grows every morning when you say good morning in English. It grows every night when you say thank you for today. So fill your days with English, and soon you'll discover that your world, your thoughts, and your dreams all speak one language, the language of confidence, the language of English. Chapter 10. Break the fear of mistakes. Do you know what stops most people from speaking English fluently? It's not a lack of vocabulary, it's not grammar, it's fear. The fear of making mistakes, the fear of being laughed at, the fear of sounding wrong. This fear is silent but powerful. It keeps your voice locked inside your throat. It keeps your English hidden even when your heart wants to speak. But let me tell you something important. Every great English speaker you admire once made hundreds of mistakes. The difference is, they didn't stop. When you were a child learning your first language, you made mistakes every day. You said words incorrectly. You used the wrong grammar. Sometimes people laughed, but you didn't care. You smiled, tried again, and kept learning. That's why you became fluent. But as adults, we lose that courage. We start to worry about what others think. We become afraid of small errors. That fear blocks our progress more than anything else. You must understand one truth clearly. Mistakes are not your enemy, they are your teachers. Every mistake you make brings you one step closer to fluency. Each wrong sentence shows your brain what to fix next. You can't skip mistakes. You must walk through them. That's how confidence grows. That's how real learning begins. Think about this. When a baby falls while learning to walk, nobody says, "You failed." Everyone smiles and says, "You're learning." That's exactly how you should see your English journey. Every mistake is proof that you are learning something new. The only real mistake is staying silent. Silence teaches you nothing. Speaking, trying, failing, and trying again, that's how you grow. I remember one of my students, Amina. She used to stay quiet in class. She was smart but afraid to speak. One day I asked her to share her thoughts in English. She said, "Teacher, I'm scared they will laugh." I told her, "If they laugh, let them. Because one day you'll speak so well that the same people will listen to you." She smiled and started talking slowly, making many mistakes. But she didn't stop. A few months later, she became one of the most confident speakers in the class. She said, "I'm not perfect, but I'm free." That's the power of breaking the fear. You have to remember, no one cares as much as you think. People are busy with their own lives. If you make a mistake, it's gone in a second. But if you stay silent, you lose another chance to grow. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes. The more mistakes you make, the faster you improve. So the next time you say something wrong, smile. That mistake is a sign of progress. It means you are trying. It means you are brave. Every good speaker was once a beginner who refused to give up. The only difference between you and them is practice. Let your mistakes be your motivation. Let them push you, not stop you. Speak even when you're scared. Write even when you're unsure. Listen even when it's difficult. Every effort counts. Every attempt matters. Because fluency is not about being perfect, it's about being fearless. From today, don't chase perfection. Chase progress. Don't try to speak like a textbook. Speak like a real person. Feel the words, use them, make them yours. Because confidence doesn't come from never falling, it comes from standing up every time you do. So go ahead, speak your English loudly. Make mistakes proudly. Learn from them. Laugh at them. But never stop. Because one day, you'll realize that those small mistakes were the very steps that carried you to fluency. And that day, you'll look back and smile, proud that you were never afraid to try. Chapter 11. Your Thoughts, Your English. Every word you speak begins as a thought. Before your mouth moves, your mind creates the sentence. That's why real fluency doesn't start with speaking. It starts with thinking. The moment you begin to think in English, everything changes. Your words come faster. Your sentences sound natural. Your confidence grows without effort. And suddenly, English is no longer something you study, it becomes a part of who you are. Your thoughts are powerful. They shape your emotions, your actions, and your voice. If your thoughts are always in your native language, then English will always feel foreign. But if you start changing the language of your thoughts, your whole world begins to shift. You stop feeling like a student, you start feeling like a speaker. That's the real secret behind fluent people. They don't translate. they think directly in English. This is where most learners struggle. They speak well in their mind, but when it's time to talk, their brain tries to translate every word. That pause, that silence, that nervous feeling, it happens because your thoughts are in another language. You need to teach your mind a new habit, the habit of thinking in English first. Even if your sentences are simple, even if they're not perfect, that doesn't matter. The goal is not perfection. The goal is connection. Start small. When you wake up, think in English. Say in your mind, it's a new day. I feel good today, I'm going to do my best. When you walk, think, I'm walking fast. When you eat, think, this food tastes nice. These small moments are powerful. They are like small drops of water that fill your English ocean over time. I had a student once who told me she never knew what to say when speaking English. I asked her what language she used to think in. She said, my own, of course. I told her, that's your answer. You're trying to speak English from the wrong source. She started practicing daily, turning every small thought into English. After a few weeks, she said, teacher, English feels lighter now. That's what happens when your thoughts change direction. When you think in English, you begin to feel emotions in English too. When something makes you happy, your heart says, I'm so happy. When you're tired, your mind whispers, I need rest. This emotional connection is what brings fluency to life. English stops being a language you use only in class. It becomes a language that lives in your heart. Don't worry if your inner sentences sound strange at first. Everyone starts that way. You may think, I am go market, or I like very this. That's okay. Your brain is learning to form thoughts in a new way. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes. With time, those sentences will start to fix themselves automatically. You just have to keep going. Make English your thinking language, not just your speaking language. Let your thoughts breathe in English. Let your emotions speak through it. Because when you start thinking in English, your mind becomes your classroom. You no longer wait for lessons, you live them. From today, whenever you find yourself talking inside your head, listen closely. Change that voice. Teach it to use English. It might take time, but it's worth it. Because the day your thoughts start flowing in English, that's the day fluency truly begins. Remember, English is not just a language of words. It's a language of thoughts, feelings, and dreams. So don't just speak English. Think it, feel it, live it. Because your thoughts create your voice, and your voice creates your confidence. When your thoughts become English, your world becomes limitless. Chapter 12. The day you start thinking in English. There will come a day when something amazing happens. You will be doing something ordinary, maybe walking to work or making tea, and suddenly a thought will appear in your mind in English. You won't plan it, you won't force it. It will just come naturally. That's the moment you'll realize your brain has changed. That's the day you will finally start thinking in English. And believe me, it will feel like freedom. Thinking in English is not about being perfect. It's about feeling comfortable. It's about living in the language, not just learning it. When you reach this point, you will no longer worry about grammar or translation. You will just speak, think, and feel. The words will come like a river, flowing without fear. That's the beautiful part of fluency. It doesn't happen in one day, but it happens one day after many small efforts. Every time you spoke to your mirror, your brain grew stronger. Every time you listened with emotion, it remembered faster. Every time you made a mistake and tried again, you built confidence. All those small steps were not small at all. They were creating this big moment. The moment where your thoughts and words become one. The moment where English feels like home. I remember a student named Kareem who told me, "Teacher, I don't know when it happened, but now I don't translate anymore." His face was shining with pride. He said, "English is not something outside of me now, it's inside me." That's what I want you to experience too. That quiet, powerful feeling when English becomes part of who you are. You see, fluency is not about knowing everything. It's about trusting yourself. It's about letting go of fear. When you stop forcing yourself to be perfect, your brain starts to relax. And when it relaxes, it learns faster. That's when thinking in English starts to happen naturally. Don't wait for that day to come magically. Build it with small actions. Speak daily, even if it's to yourself. Listen daily, even if you don't understand every word. Read daily, even if it's just a few lines. Every moment of English contact trains your mind to live in it. One day, all those efforts will join together and create that magic moment. You will notice it first in small ways. Maybe you'll hear someone say something in English, and your brain will understand it instantly. Or you'll describe your feelings in English before realizing you didn't translate. Those are signs that your English brain has awakened. That's the proof that your efforts are working. And when that day comes, I want you to pause and smile because you earned it. You fought through the fear, the confusion, the long days of practice. You didn't give up. You turned your weakness into strength. You turned your second language into your second voice. That's something to be proud of. But even then, don't stop thinking in English is not the end. It's the beginning of a new journey. Now you can express yourself, learn more deeply, connect with people from all over the world. You can share your thoughts, your stories, your dreams, all in English. That's the real reward. Not just speaking a language, but living it. So if that day hasn't come yet, don't worry. It's on its way. Keep going, keep listening, speaking, and feeling English. Your brain is learning every single day. You're closer than you think. One morning, one thought, one small moment, and you'll realize it's happened. You'll be thinking in English, living in English, and believing in yourself more than ever before. And when that day arrives, remember this: it was not luck. It was you, your effort, your heart, your belief. That's the day you will not just speak English. You will become English in thought, in feeling, and in confidence. That's your victory, and it's waiting for you.